Coffee with a Boss. I'm Christy Whitebrook, the immediate past president of the La Jolla Golden Triangle Rotary Club, the
most dynamic Rotary Club in the world.
And we are in the most dynamic Rotary District, 5340, and the most dynamic service organization in the world. So I assume some of you are not from a breakfast club, right? You're from a lunch club or an evening, I think a wine club here in Torrey Pines. So I really want a special shout out for you getting up so early in the morning to join us. Okay? All right, we have a very special and rare treat here today. As you are well aware, we have in our presence the 2425 Rotary International President, Stephanie Urchick. Let's stand for the pledge. Everyone please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I would now like to introduce you to our Rotary boss, our current president. She has 33 years in Rotary, and she's a member of the Rotary Club of McMurray, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Pittsburgh. As the 2425 Rotary International President, she's the face and reach of Rotary in our current time, and the second female president. President Stephanie has worked and led international service projects in India, Nigeria, Vietnam, the Dominican Republic, Poland, and Ukraine. Her work demonstrates her chosen theme, which is the magic of Rotary. And in her words, it's not about waving the wand, but about the impactful work that Rotarians do. This is her call to Rotary action. President Stephanie has a doctorate in leadership studies. And I also found out a few lesser-known facts about her. Well, the internet found a few lesser-known facts. They may be true, I don't know. But, first of all, she's a big sports fan. Okay, this might be a well-known fact. And she's from Pittsburgh, so I wonder who her favorite team is that has a 5-2 great record this year. We'll find out more. All right. Also, as a child, she loved Nancy Drew, which, by the way, is and she sings. She sang in a popular polka band, the Harmoniers, led by her father. So please give a big Rotary hello to the 2425 Rotary International President, Stephanie Urchick. To welcome our 2425 District Governor, Diane Crawford. Oh, yeah. A little about Diane. First of all, we're so proud of you. You have this passion for all things Rotary, right? And I think most people in this room do as well. So, Governor Diane is the recipient of multiple Rotary Service Awards. She's a driver in our district's membership. She's played a key role in forming new clubs and has held many positions in our district and is an educator at PETS and the Rotary Leadership Institute. She's from the island of St. Martin and moved to Connecticut, and then here she is in District 5340 representing San Diego and Imperial County. So please welcome again Diane Crawford. All right, and we have a lot of past district governors, I understand, in the audience. So I would like you to stand when I call your name. Let's hold the applause to the end, but I want to give a nice introduction to Keith Didinger. He was the governor in 91-92. Not be with us, but Dick Thorne, 1999-2000. Dick, are you here? Lamoise is here, 2006, and I believe his wife Jugan is here as well. Hi, Jugan. Marge Cole, are you in the house? Hey, Marge. Marge is my travel buddy. All right. She was past district governor 2009-10. We have Dick Stevens. Dick, are you here? And with your wife, Lynn, from 2012-13. Louise Andre in my club. And Louise, her husband Steve, she was district governor in 2014-15. Mel Gallegos and his wife Judy, aka Hey Jude, from 2018-19. Is Don Phipps in the house? Is Don here? No? Okay. All right. And our upcoming governor, Luis Carranza. He'll be the governor in 2025. All right. And if you're an assistant governor, could you just please stand up and, no, any assistant governors? Oh, yeah, that's there. Thank you for that. Okay, next up we have Luke Urban. Luke is the La Jolla Golden Triangle Rotary President, the 39th president of our club, and he joined Rotary in 2016. He exemplifies Rotary's magic. He leads our fundraising efforts, which benefit our avenues of service. He has successfully obtained local grants and corporate sponsorships. He's also the Senior Vice President of Wealth Management and a founding partner of the Mission, Family, and Business Group at UBS. Luke, please stand.
Yeah, Luke.
And joining Luke today, we have some members of his family. I know his parents are here from Florida. Paul and Kit, would you please stand? Thank you for coming. Luke is married to Greta and has a beautiful daughter, Era, and son, Matt. Okay, last but not least on introductions. This is like the morning wake up, right? We're standing and all this. If you are a current classmate of Luke, the current president of your Rotary Club, please stand up so we can give you a big hand. And if you're a Rotaractor or Interactor, please stand up. Thank you, everyone. All right, our format today will be a panel discussion using questions we've solicited from members. We also have representatives from our SDSU, San Diego State, and UCSD Rotaracts plus the Preuss Charter School, and they have come with their questions as well. So we ask that we're not taking questions from the audience, given the restriction on our time. But with that, I would now ask that our RI President Stephanie, Governor Diane, and Club President Luke please come and take the high chairs. All right. And the program is all yours.
I'm not taking questions.
So first we thought we'd get to start off with a little,
Here we go.
Steelers, here we go. All right, big game, great game last night. I'm not sure if you were able to watch any of it.
Only on the out.
Okay, well you missed a good one, hopefully you recorded it. So, on that, we will start with the Steelers question. How do you like the chances of the Steelers this year?
I think they'll have a winning season, but we're not going to see a Super Bowl. We don't have a very good offensive line.
You got that defense, though. That's
We
all.
have a defense,
That's all you
yeah,
got.
but it'll be a good season. It'll be a winning season.
So, President Stephanie, the first question I want to ask you a little bit about yourself. When did you join Rotary? Why did you join Rotary? What were those early days like?
So in 1991, I was working in education, higher ed. I was at a state school in Pennsylvania. I had just become divorced. And you know, when you're married, you do married stuff together. You go to dinner together, you vacation together, you go to Rotary events together. Well, I didn't have any of that. So a woman walked into my office and said, Stephanie, would you like to come to a Rotary meeting? And I looked at her and said, what the heck is Rotary? I mean, I had never heard of it. So she started giving me, you know, the background and what it was. And when she talked about the international part of Rotary, I got really hooked because growing up I wanted to be a spy. That's another story for another panel. I might be. But so I thought, well, yeah, I think I want to go to this Rotary Club meeting because it sounded like something I'd be interested in, you know, in terms of, you know, giving back to the world. Plus, I thought I could meet people. Yeah. Yeah. So I went to the Rotary Club meeting. I went to the second meeting. By the fourth meeting, I was doing the newsletter. A year and a half later, I was club president. And I just never looked back after that. So it's just been a series of remarkable opportunities. And one of the things I believe in, always have, is that life is always more interesting on the other side of a yes. As long as it's moral and legal, say yes, and then figure it out. You know, too often people get stuck and they analyze, do I have enough time, do I have enough money, am I good enough? Forget that, just say yes and then figure it out. Because then, you know, you really have opportunities that present the world to you. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And one thing is a little Hoyington and Triangle Rotary Club members know, in my presidency, I've instituted a program we call our Your Rotary Story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's something where we encourage members to come up and talk about a moment. We all joined for reasons maybe similar to that, and similar to yours, but a moment in which you really found yourself as a Rotarian. Either a project you did that was very meaningful, a friendship you made along the way. Can you think of when your Rotary story actually happened, where you felt this was for your place?
Only one.
Only one.
Well, there have been many, as you can imagine, but the one that comes to mind is the one that led to our theme for the year, the magic of Rotary. And I shared it last night, so those of you who were in the audience last night, I apologize for hearing it again. But I was in the Dominican Republic in 2010 with my Rotary Club on a service project. We were installing water filters in people's homes. And I was in a home with a family of 5, a grandmother and a mother and 3 boys. And so my job was to put the filter together and then show the women how to clean it, use chlorine. And then the last thing I would do is test it. I put dirty water in one side and it would come out clean. Put dirty water in and it would come out clean. And when I stopped it, one of the little boys ran up and he tugs on my jacket and he says, lady, show me that magic again. And I realized at that moment that everything we do in Rotary is magic to someone. And the magic wasn't the water filter, the magic was what was going to happen to that family. Those women didn't have to walk for miles for water. The boys could go back to school 5 days a week instead of occasionally because they weren't looking for water. And that was the magic. And every one of us, whether we're in Interact, Youth Exchange, Rotaract, or Rotary, we are involved any time that we engage in service. That's what we're doing. We're creating magic for people. So that was one of them that stands out in my mind.
Hence the magic of Rotary.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about peace. There's a lot of conflicts going on in the world. Peace is in Rotary's DNA. How do you see us being more just?
Well, you know, we're a organization that was built on world understanding and peace. And when you think about our 7 avenues of focus, every single thing we do leads to peace. Every single action we take is creating environments and circumstances that are necessary for peace. If people are hungry, we go in and feed them. If people need clean water, we go in and provide it. Everything we do is a peace action. What I remind Rotarians and Rotaractors about is that we're not peace brokers. We're not going to stop war. We're not going to negotiate the release of hostages. But what we do is create the environment that's necessary. So no matter what area of focus we work with, we're helping to establish peaceful environments. If any of you have done the Peace Activators online program and taken a look at the 8 pillars of peace, and you realize that they're aligned with Rotary's areas of focus. So we are peace builders, and that we have to continually remind people that that's what we do. You know, there's a very popular project that was, I think, originated in District 5100, not far from here, and it's the Peace Pole Project. And these are monuments that are erected in communities. What I like about it, they're visible representations of what Rotary does. Because the Peace Pole says, may peace prevail on earth in the languages that are part of the community. And they have QR codes that go back to your club or your district. They are branded with the master brand of Rotary. So anybody who passes that monument says, wow, okay, Rotary, okay, I get it. This is something that they're involved in. So I like it from that perspective, that it not only fulfills something for us as peace builders, but it helps people in our communities understand the importance of what we do.
How do the Peace Scholars fit into that?
The global, are you talking about the Peace Fellows? Yeah, okay, so Rotary has 6 currently peace centers around the world. And that's a program that started 25 years ago by the Rotary Foundation. And they are located at major universities that have peace and conflict resolution studies, master's degrees. So currently we have almost 2,000 graduates of these programs who are around the world doing amazing things. I had an opportunity to go to Duke UNC to listen to a graduation ceremony. And I sat there and I was totally amazed. I'm listening to these 20 or so young people and plans that they have to go back to their areas of the world and the things that they worked on and doing. I'm thinking, what was I doing when I was 25? Holy smokes. And in February, our new class will go through our newest peace center in Istanbul, Turkey, in the Middle East. So we continue to produce graduates who are promoting our efforts in peace building, doing fantastic work around the world. So if that's something you're interested in, February 20th, 21st, and 22nd, Istanbul, Turkey, registration is open. I would love to see you. If this is something that you feel passionate about, that would be a great peace conference and celebration of our new center.
And our club in particular is very strong in this, thanks to Steve Brown and Cynthia Villas. And we actually have a peace scholar here, right? If you can stand up and from Dee from the country of Georgia. And that those candies were delicious, by the way. So that's something that we here at our club do an awful lot of. Sticking on the topic of peace, Michael Barton here in the audience asked about Ukraine and how Rotary and us as Rotarians can help with the situation in Ukraine.
Well, you may recall that early on, the foundation created a disaster response fund specifically for Ukraine. And over $15 million was collected and then distributed to clubs and districts in surrounding countries as well as in Ukraine to help with displaced people, with medical issues, with all sorts of things. Now, there is much activity happening with clubs and districts who are using global grants to do that same kind of work. In addition, there's pure international service happening where Rotary clubs just know that going in and doing the right thing to help is what they should do, and Rotary Club. So there's a lot of assistance happening to help people in the country as well as people who have left the country and require translation, relocation, other kinds of issues. So there's a lot of activity happening.
Who has been the most interesting person you've met on your travels?
On my travels?
Yeah. This year.
Okay. In May.
Don't make Jamie blush.
In May, I made a resident
Yeah, today.
in the country of Slovakia. And prior to going, I wrote to the district governor and I said, I'm going to be your president's rep, and by the way, my grandmother was born in Slovakia. And she writes back, oh yeah, where? And I said, no, I'm not exactly sure. It's somewhere around Pachowska Novovech. That's all I knew. Okay, fast forward, I get to the conference, I get to her area, and it turns out she hired a genealogist who not only found the village my grandmother was born in, he hired a videographer. They made a video of the life of my grandmother, and the Rotary Club of Prešov went to the village and worked with the community center. So there I am sitting in the community center, a room like this, watching this video of the life of my grandmother. Okay? And in the video, the genealogist walks into a house somewhere and says, I'm looking for relatives of Veronica Zilka. And this man on the video says, that would be me. And I turn around, and he was in the room. He was my cousin. I didn't know he existed. He didn't know I existed. His grandmother and my grandmother were sisters. So that's the most interesting person I've had. And we are still in contact with each other, and it was I got to go to his home. He's living in the home my grandmother was born in. So they brought out pictures that other family members had sent them, from America, and I'm looking. I saw pictures of my father that I'd never seen before. I saw cousins. It was just truly the most amazing 3 hours I've ever had. That was very special.
That's quite a story. What has surprised you the most about these last 4 months about being RI president?
How much bad behavior there is in Rotary.
Not here.
Not here, but around the world as I travel, there's just an amazing amount of bad behavior that really floors me. Because in my heart, Rotary is about peace and world understanding and our DNA to help people. And when I see bickering in clubs, when I see election disputes, when I see all of that bad action, it just makes me pause. And that's been different to see.
So polio's in the news. Numbers are going up. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. And
Well, during the past year, we've had both progress and challenges. So on the progress side, you may know if you've looked deep into the numbers that during the past years, there have been two types of polio reported. The polio cases coming from wild polio, and then what's called polio-derived cases from the vaccine. In the last year, that second group has come way down. We're making so much progress with new variants of the vaccine that eliminate the possibility of getting polio from the vaccine. So that number is way down. The issue, on the other hand, the challenge is that we're now experiencing obstacles in places where we didn't have those obstacles before. One of them is in Afghanistan. Afghanistan passed, Taliban actually passed a rule that we were not allowed any longer to do house-to-house immunization. The good news is they are allowing mosque-to-mosque immunization, which is good in a sense, but the other edict that they passed was that women have to stay in their homes. So it's men that have to get the children to the mosque. Women aren't allowed to work, they're not allowed to go to school, they're not allowed to do anything but stay in the house. So that's a challenge for us. in Afghanistan. That's a big issue. And you know, it's not the whole country, it's the border with Pakistan. It's that mountainous region. And previously, it's been our frontline female workers who have done the dangerous and difficult job of climbing the mountains and getting shot at and all that. And you know, we overcame that challenge. We hired armed guards to go with them. So we look at the challenge and then we figure out what can we do. It's quiet diplomacy that actually got the Taliban to agree to Mosque. So that's really a plus. We just need to now work with our partners to see how can we make sure that these children get there. On the flip side, in Pakistan, the efforts of our frontline workers are tremendous, just tremendous. I was there in January, and I met with the female frontline workers, primarily to go and tell them that we have their backs, because they are doing our work. They're immunizing babies, and it's dangerous, and they're doing it. And I wanted them to know how much we appreciate that they're helping us move closer to a polio-free world. And we had a little ceremony, and we gave them certificates and photos and all of that. And the overwhelming response was, hearing that makes us want to work even harder. And the other thing I got to do was meet the male frontline workers. The male frontline workers are the ones who take the carriers, and they have transit stops in Pakistan on the highways. Buses and vans are required to stop, and the authorities go in checking for contraband, whatever, guns, drugs, whatever. But on the bus, there are babies. So the male frontline workers go up into the bus, and I went with them, and they immunize babies right on the bus. So I said to one of the workers, how do you know how many are done every day? He said, well, we keep meticulous records, and we know that we are doing across the country 3,000 a day. 3,000 a day. So it's not if polio is going to be gone. It's when. It's when, because the dedication of people like that is absolutely overwhelming.
Can you share with us a little bit about the Rotary Action Plan and why that isn't so important?
How much time do I have?
5 minutes.
The Rotary Action Plan is our guide for our clubs to help grow, actually to help us have a future. It's not a mandate. Nobody at Rotary is saying, not the president, not anybody, governor, nobody's saying you have to do this. It's for clubs who want to assess themselves and move into a thriving future. And you'll hear about it. Diane has looked around, and there's an action plan champion in your district, and most likely you'll be in your clubs. And the purpose that is, it's a guide. It's a way for clubs to take a look at themselves through the lens of the 4 priorities and say, okay, we're pretty good here. How can we get better? Or maybe we're not so good here. How can we do a better job? That's what it's meant to do. Help us all in our clubs look at what is it that we need to do to become simply irresistible, or to stay irresistible. Because when your club is irresistible, Rotary clubs too, when you're irresistible, membership will take care of itself. People will be attracted. They'll say, what's that club doing over there? They're having so much fun. I need to be a part of that. They're changing the community. And the people who are in the club are less likely to want to leave because they're engaged, they're committed, and they're enjoying what's happening. So those 4 priorities, if you haven't seen them, all of this is on the website, and you'll hear more about it from your action plan champions. But one of the best exercises that I think any action plan champion can do, or if you're a program person, you need a speaker, okay, get someone who knows the action plan to come to the club and divide the club into 4. And then give every group one of the priorities and say, okay, now you have 20 minutes, 25 minutes, talk about what that means right here in this club. 2 things will happen. you'll get useful information. Well, let me rephrase that. You'll get information. Some of it you might be able to use. But the second reason I like doing that is because you get buy-in. You've given every member of the club an opportunity to be a part of assessing and looking at the future of your club. So even if you don't use what they say, the resistance level will go down because they've been part of the process. So you'll hear more about that. If you want to learn more about that, Rotary.org/action plan, it's out there. One of the things I will tell you is originally it was called the strategic plan. Well, that it wasn't going to work. You know, people, that's not a sexy term. So we're people of action. So it changed to the action plan because that's our call. We want clubs to take some action because traditional clubs are not going to go away. But traditional clubs have to realize that not everybody will be attracted to that traditional club. I'm in one. I get it. We do very traditional things, but there are people in our community who don't want to do that. Rotaractors don't want to come to a traditional club. I remember once, years ago, before I thought about it, I invited a young man to come to a Rotary Club meeting. So he came with me, and typically, you know, it happens everywhere. The president stood up and rang the bell and said, all right, let's do the pledge. All right, let's read the four-way test. And then when we sat down, this young man leaned over to me and said, man, that was Pavlovian. And it is, but for us it works. But that's not obviously the kind of experience that he wants. He wants to do something different. How many of you have been to a Rotary meeting? Okay. Aren't they different than your Rotary Club meeting? Yeah, ours are, because there's a different vibe. There's a different energy. Yet, Rotaractors get us. They understand the four-way test. They believe in our core values. They know that world understanding and peace is important. They're doing global grants. This is the generation that's going to be there when I'm no longer around. So we just have to remember that as traditional Rotary clubs, that we have to make room for new professionals and young Rotarians who are going to come in and want to do it their way. Long answer, sorry.
No time for questions. So, membership in the U.S. declining, and I know that, why do you think that is? Second question is, I know you have a good track record at recruiting new members, 80 plus members, I believe, for Rotary. What's your secret?
The secret is I talk about it all the time. What? I talk, don't sit next to me on an airplane unless you want to hear about it. I talk about it constantly. And I don't know why we all don't do that. You know, everybody's part of the membership committee in my estimation. That's what we're supposed to do. Share the magic of people. They're our friends, our family members, our neighbors. You know, we know them. We just need to talk to folks about how Rotary is different these days because they may have a perception it's wrong. They might think it's, your grandfather's Rotary Club. So we really need to talk about it more. That's really it. So why is membership down in the U.S.? There are lots of reasons. It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to people who research and study demographics, they'll say, it's a different society. People's work is different. Yeah. That part of that is true. But you know what? People pay and make time for the things that they find valuable. Sometimes I talk to Rotaractors who, I can't believe we have to pay dues now. Yet they're wearing $200 pair of jeans. They're going to Starbucks every day to get a latte, and they just went to the Taylor Swift concert. Sorry.
Which is a $2,000.
So we pay for what we value. So if people value the experience in Rotary, they're going to make the time. Sometimes, Diane, people say, how do you, district governor, that's a tough job. No, it's not. It's about prioritizing what's important. When I was serving as a governor, had a full-time job. The president of the university wanted me to open a new center, which I did. I was working on my PhD, and my mother was ill and my responsibility. So guess what? I looked at my life and I said, well, what's not going to happen? Well, I didn't go to Steeler games that year. I watched them, if I didn't go to any. I didn't take a vacation. And if the Board of Health would have come to my home, they would have shut me down because I didn't clean. It just wasn't important, you know? So you find time for the things that are valuable. That's why I say we need to make Rotary irresistible so that people are so attracted to it.
Any words of wisdom in trying to recruit younger members?
Yeah. Think about your club. If you were 30 years old, would you want to join your club?
Yes.
Would you? Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, that's how you make that determination. If your environment, if your atmosphere, if your culture is attractive across demographics, then you've got a handle on the future. And if not, you have an opportunity.
All right, we have two last questions for you, and then we're going to turn it over to the Rotaracts and Interacts to ask some questions.
Okay.
Number one is, how many airline miles do you think you've racked up in the last 4 months?
The last 4 months, more than 600,000.
I think it's a nice vacation, right? That's free.
Well, I just got elected to the Board of Trustees last week, so I don't know the vacation's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to live that long.
And then, secondly, I'd be curious, July 1st, 2025.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to focus on Rotary-wise after this
The
chapter?
Rotary Foundation again. I've been a trustee before, but at the last Board of Directors meeting, there was election of trustees for the next cycle. So I will be rotating back to the Board of Trustees, so I'll be focusing on that. And membership.
Great. We're going to now give the microphone to our Rotaracts from UCSD, San Diego State, and also an Interact from Price Charter School. So please introduce yourself and ask your question, and who would like to go first? All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Wasi. I'm the president of UCSD Rotary. So my question is what approaches can Rotary Club use to strengthen their collaborative effort on an international level?
Well, you know, on an international level, I would say, well, I'll back up. Where does Rotary happen? Where? Where's it happen? Where's Rotary? Who's Rotary? We are. Rotary happens in the club. It happens in your Rotary club, and it happens in these Rotary clubs. It doesn't happen where I am. Rotary International is a building. And there are some talented people there who are there for club support and Rotary support. But that's not where Rotary is happening. It's happening where you are. So the first thing is to make sure that your club is active. Second thing is to remind your Rotaract members that every year there is a call for self-nominations for international committees at Rotary. But I hope that some of your members, your members, will take an opportunity to self-nominate, to be a part of that. We want the voice of Rotaract. We want to hear what Rotaract thinks at the international level. Going beyond what you asked, elevating Rotaract was one of the smartest things we did at the COL several years ago. However, we elevated Rotaract before we knew how we were going to elevate Rotaract. Okay? So we have to backtrack a little bit. It's on my radar screen. At last week's board meeting, we had items and we took decisions about making some efforts to move that forward. We need to make it easier for Rotaractors to transition into Rotary clubs. One of the things that doesn't happen here, because I've been listening very carefully, but when I'm around the world, one of the things I hear from Rotarians tends to be, I don't want to work with those Rotaractors. They're too young, they don't know anything, they're wet behind the ears, they ought to be happy they can sell tickets to our banquet. Then sometimes I talk to Rotaractors and they say, I don't want to work with those Rotarians. They don't get us. They want us to park the cars. They don't let us do anything. And my viewpoint is, we're missing an opportunity for reverse mentoring. If we don't get closer together, we lose the opportunity for them to learn from us and for us to learn from them. We know a lot of things. We've been in business, we've been in industry, education, we've been in Rotary, but they know things that we can't even imagine. And so when we're closer together, we're better. And I said, I don't hear that here. I'm so impressed that Rotary and Rotaract is close together here, but that's not true everywhere in the world.
Next, would you like to?
Okay, so hi, I am Yi. I am the president of the Post-School Interact Club, and my question is, how is Rotary able to engage pre-college students to be more involved in global challenges like sustainability or health issues around the world?
Well, the answer to that is primarily based in our areas of focus. So we encourage not only Rotary clubs, but Rotaract and Interact to take a look at the areas of focus specifically for Interact and how that happens in the community. It's our Rotaractors and our Interactors who, by and large, are doing projects to save the planet. And thank God you are. Thank God you are. Because my generation and generations before me, we screwed it up. We didn't pay attention. But Rotaractors and Interactors are doing that. And so I'm delighted with that. In terms of healthcare, it's the same thing. It's identifying where is there an issue that we can put our brain power and our manpower and our women's power to this particular issue and make something happen. I've been in places where Rotaractors mentor Interactors, and Interactors mentor Rota kids. You have Rota kids around here? Okay, Rota kids is the elementary school. So there's a project for Interact. Work with the local school district to see if you can get Rota kids and become the mentors to the Rota kids. It's never too early to instill the idea of service. So, if that's something that your Interact can help make happen, that would be a beautiful and international project.
Next.
Hello, I'm Evelyn. I'm the president of the SDSU Rotaract, and my question is in regards to membership. In Rotary, we know that membership has been an issue, and Rotaractors are the next generation of Rotary. Our district does a really good job at involving us at different events, but would you be willing to push other Rotary districts or even require districts to sponsor at least one Rotaractor to attend events like PETS, Zone, conferences? I know at our last PETS there were only 3 Rotaractors, 2 from our district, 1 from Hawaii. But these events give us a voice, a face, and a chance to network and let Rotary members know what Rotaract is about.
Absolutely. You will be happy to know that at this year's International Assembly in February, each zone in the world has been invited to send a Rotaractor. So there will be 34 Rotaractors at the International Assembly there to interact with governor nominees, governor-elects, to bring the voice of Rotaract forward. So those are steps that are happening. I think a lot of what you're suggesting has to happen also locally. Sometimes I say to people, why are you waiting for something from Rotary International? We're Rotary. We're the ones that have to make things happen. So if you want things to happen in your club or in your district for Rotaract and Rotary, don't wait for Rotary International to make that happen. Do it locally. In fact, that's how said this last night, that's how programs of scale start. They start with local projects that become so fantastic that they're scalable. And so with partners getting involved, then they become $2 million projects. Same thing happens locally with Interact and Rotary. Do things locally. And you know, if you do things locally, eventually your district governor is going to hear about it. She's going to say, damn, that's a good idea. I'm going to share that with the zone. Yes. Yeah, so I don't necessarily wait for things to happen. Just, you know, make them happen. We have the DNA to look at the world and say, we can fix this. We can help this. And so I think that's what we all want to do in our respective Rotary groups.
And Stephanie, I can assure you, assuming we can keep all these wonderful people here in San Diego after they graduate college, that Rotary is going to be very strong in San Diego County. They have a great project out in Ensenada paving a school, and I think there's more Rotaractors from UCSD and San Diego State than there were people from our club. And Cynthia Villas here is reinvigorating the USD, University of San Diego Club, which kind of withered after COVID. So thank you all for.
Right.
Thank you. And we have about 10 minutes, President Stephanie, so you're welcome to share more with us. You're welcome to even get off the high chair if you want. And then we'll wrap it up with President Luke.
Well, first I need to tell you what an honor it's been for me to be able to share time with you. People often say, you know, what's the best part of the job? This is it. Meeting the family of Rotary and listening to, you know, how Rotary is happening. You know, we use a term in Rotary, regional adaptability. And that means that Rotary is different from place to place to place. It's even different in the same district between clubs. So I'll tell you the story about my current club. This is the third club I've been in. The very first club I was in California, Pennsylvania. How weird is that? And I joined that club, and I was in the club for 10 years. I had a wonderful time. They were active, did all kinds of, you know, youth exchange, and just very active, wonderful club. But then I had a job change, and I was moving to another location of the university. So I joined the club in that town, my second club. At best, that club was a lunch bunch. They got together and they ate. That's it. There was no community service, God forbid, international service, no youth exchange, no Rotaracts fund, nothing. So by that time, I was a previous governor. So of course, I would stand up and say, have we thought about, and they would look down at their sheets. Or I'd, you know, say, how about we try, and they would glaze over. So I tried for a while, but fortunately, because I knew that there were options, I started looking for other clubs. And guess what? This one is right next door. It's in the town right next door. So clubs, even together in the same area, can be different, can have different kinds of cultures. So I think it's important to, you know, just, I hate to go back to talking about that action plan, but it's important to think about how we can make the culture in our clubs active, welcoming. You know, when we leave a Rotary Club meeting, we should feel good. We should not feel overburdened or upset or, you know, I don't like this person. None of that. We should feel good. My club meets in a room. It has a door. And I don't know when this started, but we still do it. No matter who walks through the door, everybody jumps up and claps. Okay? The server, the speaker, no matter who comes in, we clap. You know? And it's just become a tradition. How could you not be in a good mood in a meeting like that when you get welcomed with people yelling and cheering and saying, you know, hey, whatever. So we need to look for things that make our club meetings exciting. You know, sometimes I visited clubs and the president will stand up and ring the bell and say, "Welcome to today's meeting. It's Wednesday, September 29th. Today our speaker," I'm thinking, holy hell, that's how much energy you have. No wonder nobody wants to come here. Rotary's fun. Rotary's exciting. And if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Absolutely doing it wrong. So pretty much share the music of Rotary and make it your commitment. If you can bring one other person into this magic, you're changing that person's life. You know, I think back to Eileen, the woman who invited me. She's no longer around, she's in heaven now. But she changed my life with that invitation. And of course I said yes. There are a lot of people who are invited and they say, "Oh no, I don't have the time." And again, you know, we all choose. We all have the same 24 hours. And we all make decisions about what's important for us to do. What's our purpose? What is it what's our reason, for being? When I was young, my grandmother used to say, there are only two kind of people, givers and takers. Which one are you going to be? And so it's that simple. It's that simple. Yeah, so that's my message. You heard a lot of what I'm interested in all of us looking at membership. In fact, when I met with Rotary staff for the first time, they said, "What are your 3 priorities going to be?" I said, membership, and membership. I mean, it's not rocket science. This is the greatest organization on the planet. Right? I don't want it to go away. I don't want that to continue to look like that. We really need to, make it more exciting, make it fun. Make people understand that we're doing good things in the world, but we're also changing ourselves and we're having a good time while we're doing it. So that's the message for the morning, and I appreciate being invited. Thank you so much.
I'm sure you have 100 of these at home, but at least this one you can wave on the plane. And another thing we do, if I may, slap our I President. We have a slap bracelet that says the most dynamic Rotary club in the world. Lastly, but next is a hat that you can wear maybe at, it's not Steelers Cup, as long as they're not playing the Chargers, I think it'll be good. And we don't like the Chargers here, so
All right.
And then finally, most importantly, we are donating every nickel of proceeds that this generated to your endowed fund within the Rotary Foundation. There will be a minimum of $500.
And that endowed fund is for our youth center, so thank you very much for that.
Okay, great. And now
Give a big round of applause to